Boa noite. Or bună seara. That's my full Romanian that I have. Okay, good night. First, thanks for asking me to join. It's a pleasure to be here, mainly because, you know, when you are a foreigner, usually you don't get chances to speak in front of the audience, so I need to apologize first. I'm too old to learn Romanian, so I cannot speak in Romanian with you, and not even French. So I'm struggling with my Portuguese from Brazil and trying to speak a little bit in English, okay? So a little bit about me as a foreigner. So let me give you the background so you are going to connect with my failures, because I have that many. The toughest part was to choose one or two, because if I could talk about my failures, we could book a full event for 1 week and it should be fully booked. So I will be quite quick, just to let you know. Farlei, I'm working for Stefanini for 14 years, but I was an entrepreneur before for the 12 years. I'm living here in your country for 6 years already, when my daughter was born. I'm from Brazil. I'm from the south. We are very, very local people, really proud about being from that region. It's close to Argentina. We call ourselves as gauchos because we like barbecues, beers, and we are very, very proud, okay? So my background, as I mentioned, I'm a technical guy, so I don't know the audience here. It was just to give you some understanding who I am. So I have a full technical background. IT is my life since ever. I started with 16 years old, and since there I'm working on this world. I'm not that always successful. That's why I'm here to share with you all my failures, or some of them. So another one, what I like to, because you know, on top of being an employer or an employee, we are people. So I really like to work. I don't suffer in that process. I like to practice the sports. I'm always was competing. When I was younger, I was competing in high school. I was competing after high school. I'm still competing. I'm going to be competing this year again. I'm playing paddle and I'm competing in some tournaments. So I like to compete, okay? So sport, so you keep pushing yourself. And I'm a drummer. And I have some other hobbies as well. Here, quickly, so besides of the fact that we are working for someone or we are owning a business, that sometimes you look like that, the true story behind of this type of pictures, in the end, we are people. And it's not just about jobs. And failure can be in your professional life or in your personal life as well. So take a look. That's my hobbies. I'm a home brewer. So who here likes beers? So in the outside, we can talk about that, because I'm really in love. That was myself brewing beers Sunday morning, 6 a.m. I was waking up 6 in the morning to brew my beers, okay? So another hobby, that's me playing drums, doing the last kickoff 1 week ago in our global kickoff in Brazil. 700 people, they asked some people to join the stage. I was playing with the band. So another aspect, I'm a paddle guy. I like to play paddle. If you don't know the sport, it's a very specific sport for some countries. But as you can see, I always have my daughter with me. Here we go. My daughter, she was born in Romania. So that's already something that we are proud. We are still living here. I had the chance to live in Brussels when I joined the European team. I chose to be in Romania. When I took over as a CEO, I had the chance to move to Brussels again. I decided to stay in Romania. So as you can see, I really like your country. So some background. Before Stefanini, because here I know that we have people, very successful people owning companies. Some of you are employees, some of you are managing startups. So I was exactly half of my life in these two worlds. I was for 12 years just working as an entrepreneur. I was an employee before just for 6 months. So since 20 years old, I was managing my own business with my teams and always in the IT world, okay? The startup way to do business. So here, my career just is not about talking about it, but as you can see, I was following all the steps. And in all of them, I had failures. Why? Because it's the only way that you can learn. technically speaking, you cannot get better just thinking that you are doing everything perfectly. You must make much more mistakes than you are doing that perfectly. If you are a developer, trust me, your coding is going to be 100 times wrong, and one time it's going to work. And then you say, wow, finally, okay? So, and I had 2 startups. Something that I think that is one of my failures, but in the end, I learned from that. Experience is not about time. It's about something else. It's about intensity. So if you have the feeling that you are too much time doing something and you are not moving further, maybe think about that, how intensive you are about that stuff. So are you really deeply there? So you can have the feeling that I'm failing, but in the end, maybe you just need to adapt some approaches, okay? Another aspect about Stefanini is not about the steps, it's just to show you that in 12 years, I had some steps, and I can tell you, my failure stories, for all of them, are much, much bigger than the successful stories. Maybe because I was born in a country, I'm just clicking the message from the colleagues. Some steps that I took, they were related to burnouts. I was very close to have 2 or 3, so the steps were there. Second, in a way, there is no way to make something happen if you don't make some choices. So if I'm here, trust me, I'm failing with someone. Maybe my daughter is thinking that I'm not with her. So you are going to make some choices. Someone was mentioning choices, options. And then you are going to fail for sure. It's impossible to be perfect. And why I would like to give you this background about the story there? Because my biggest failure in life brought me to this position. That's why I would like to share with you the previous step before Stefanini and within Stefanini. So here, I chose 2 failures. Let me see my time. Okay, I'm good. Business visions versus individual technical skills, and it doesn't matter the career that you are. We need to understand that sometimes we think that, if you are doing a perfect business case, if you are implementing something perfectly, if you have the right partners, it's going to be everything perfect. Sometimes it's not like that. I have one really, really good example here about that's I'm considering as an entrepreneur, okay? The failures that I had. I had my first startup. It was an IT company. We were producing ERPs for big organizations, okay? And after 5 years working without holidays, I almost had my burnout. I was 27 years old. And I was working Sunday to Sunday, 12, 15 hours per day. We were amazing. We were delivering great projects. Why it was a big failure? Because after 5 years, we were not focusing on really understanding our objectives. We were just working like hell. So it was the biggest failure because I left that company with a burnout, and I needed to open another company, and I left with just my computer under my arm. And the company still is there, they are still working. For me, that was one big, big failure for sure. After working so many years, living without anything, it was a big failure. So I opened a second company with 2 partners that I had from the previous one. And then, with the learnings, we opened in a totally different way. We start having holidays, we start focusing on the results, etc. And then, the money start coming. And it start coming quite good. And then you go to a relaxing mode, thinking that the life is just going to happen naturally. And then after 2-3 years, I was feeling, I'm not for this. I was unhappy again. So in the previous step, I was working a lot, and it didn't work. In the new step, I was not working that much. It was working really well. The results were coming. And I personally was feeling bad, because I was feeling, I'm not for this. I need to do something else. I'm looking for something bigger. And then I was talking with my friends living abroad. I had some friends living abroad already. In Brazil, normally you stay in Brazil. And then they told me, you are losing your time there. You should go out. And then I start building a plan, a very smart plan. Okay, let's build a checklist. IT guys, you know, 0, 1. It's checklist, let's do all the steps, and it's going to be a successful story. And then I did that. I start 4 years later. We did a checklist. Well, I need to take some specialization. I need to do some MBAs. And then I need to do some certification. I build the full list, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So I build a full list for 5 years. And then, in the middle, the guy said, but to live abroad, Farlei, you need to speak a different language. English. Maybe we can go to many countries. Wow, the biggest failure in my life. 28 years old, I could not say, my name is Farlei in English. So how I can make it? So that's another big failure. I didn't start learning English earlier, and in Brazil we do not have that naturally. So you need to run for that. So okay, 20 years old, I started in a school, and my first class, trust me, with 20 years old was I am, you are, he is. That was my biggest failure, personally speaking. I took too long to understand how I should move forward. And then, okay, I start the English. I did like all the books there, and then I started having private English classes, and okay, everything else I did already. All the certifications, MBAs, it was everything done. I was stuck on the English to go abroad. And then my friends told, okay, let's give it a try. You need 2 years. And then I keep pushing. In one moment, I had a brilliant idea. The guy told me, Farlei, November, you are going to have a window in a company here, a huge one that I manage, that you can come and make an interview. You are going to be hired because your technical skills are amazing. It was June. Someone was talking about postponing decisions. I don't remember. She was mentioning. I was 2 months, 3 months postponing the decision because I should quit my company. I should stop the contracts that I had. It was working really well. I was making a good money, but it was a big change in my life. I was not happy. And then I took the decision. I was sick, close to have the new burnout. I took the decision, okay, let's move on. And then I sold my car. I took some money and I went to Canada. 6 months. Full power. I was studying like hell, guys. I arrived there with the level 3 from 0 to 10. I was having 6 hours English class per day, and I was studying another 8 at home. The owner of the house was saying, you are not going to enjoy our country? I was studying Sunday to Sunday. I don't know, I came here to study. I'm going to take up a position. In November, I have the interview booked already in US. I bought the flight tickets. Everything was checklist, guys. Perfect story. Everything's going to work. I'm going to be successful. In October, do you remember the crisis of 2008? Do you remember? Someone remember that crisis? Guys, that was the year that I was in Canada. I was there in July, October, everything started talking about crisis. I didn't see because I was studying the full day. And then my friend from US, with the flight tickets to US to have the interview, everything there. Man, I have a bad story for you. Do you know all this plan for the last 5 years? MBA, certifications, you study English. I studied English for 3 years in a row before going to Canada. So, do you know this? Yeah, you are fucked. Sorry for my French English. It's not going to happen, the interview. It's gone. They closed all the openings for 1 year. And then, that was the biggest failure. Imagine, guys, December came. I moved back to Brazil with no car. I stopped all the contracts that I had. I told really proud my partners that I was going to study English and I was going to move to US. It didn't happen. And I came back in December showing to my family and everybody that all the full plan didn't work. And then I click your message. Sometimes we plan, your message, sorry. The same hair, okay? Your message, this can happen. Or I learned from a guy that was the speaker in our kickoff, shit can happen. It happened with me, so it was a big failure. But now you are going to connect to the two experiences that I would like to share with you. I had one startup, failed, huge one. I was in the second one, it was my personal failure. They still are there, okay? Just to let you know. I had my second one. My partners are still there doing great, but it was not for me. I was having different dreams. I failed because I could not move to US. And then 1 or 2 months later, one opportunity to join Stefanini came. And then you can see that in Stefanini, I managed to move on from the biggest failure ever. So guys, if you are going to feel that you are failing in something, just move on. It's just keep moving, okay? And my second big failure, that was in the personal life, because it was exactly that limit, okay? The second big failure, I learned here, soft skills and resilience is much, much important than knowledge and experience, because sometimes you are too proud. I'm a really knowledgeable guy. I have 3 MBAs, and I have a lot of experience here and there, but you need to adapt the environment. Do you have any idea how far away is the culture comparing Brazilians and European people? Do you have an idea how far away is both? You know how our Brazilians, let's go guys, let's move on, let's make it happen. Yeah, 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 and everybody is going to go. If you came to Europe and say, let's go guys, you're going to, huh? Why? Where is the business plan? No, we need double time. Guys, it's huge. Why I'm saying that? I had a big failure before. In my previous experience in Brazil, after taking over a lot of delivery centers in different states, I took one really special one, the hardest one. It was in Brasilia, it's the capital of Brazil. Do you know when the corruptions are leaving? Do you know all that shitty stuff that you understand a bit is there? We have a lot of contracts with these governments there. And you know, a guy with me, always full of power, working like hell, arrived there to take over the full delivery center. 350 people working just for government. And then I start having meetings with the politics. Because you don't have in front of you in a meeting with that departments, people like you, that they know what they are talking about. They have no clue. And then you go to a meeting that you need to deliver a full project for the army. And then the guy put the gun on top of the table. I was in a meeting that the guy, you know the FBI from US? We have in Brazil our federal police. The top one was, I was in a meeting with the guy put the gun on the table because I was there to complain, to say we are going to stop the contract. The guy was turning around the gun and thinking, okay, what are you talking about? You know? So that's a true story. Why? That's a big failure for me. I didn't read the environment. In my mind, to go in there, tough, working hard, moving my team, making the delivery is going to happen. With politics or in that environment, it didn't work. So for me, after 1 year, I asked the company, guys, I cannot work here anymore. I'm going to kill someone. So I asked them to move on, and I took over another different place. Why? That was my second biggest failure, because for me it was the first time that I was leaving a place with the feeling that I was not successful. It was a big one, but you know, that gave me the biggest learning in my life, because 3 years later, Marco called me, Farlei, I have a position for you in Europe. But Farlei, it's going to be tough for you. These guys are not like us. They are like, you know, they plan everything, they are really organized, they are not that pushy like you. You can ask my people. I came with a lot of energy and then I need to adapt. I learned from that experience in Brasilia. So that I think I would like to tell you these two big failures in the personal life, in the startup world, in the corporate world. But always, I like that comment from and for her as well. Guys, each failure, you can learn a lot. If you make it happen, the learnings are not that many. But with a failure, you can really go back and take a look, okay, what I did wrong. And then you move on, and you are going to get better. And then in the next story, maybe you are going to make different mistakes, not the same. If you ask me, until now, Marco is calling you. Marco is the Marco Stefanini, the owner of the company. I'm talking to him all the time, and he say, Farlei, what you did in Europe was amazing, because you engage with them, they like you. And yeah, I learned from Brasilia, they didn't that much, you know? So that was my second biggest failure that in a way helped me to get or to be better for the next stage. My final message is this one. I like this one first here, because I think that that's a very, very simple but powerful message that we should understand. First, hard times create strong men. We are all. We can choose where we are. Strong men creates good times, and then you have the cycle. I like to think that I'm here, that I'm living hard times, because since I joined Europe, I had COVID already, 2 years to manage. Now a war with Ukraine, do you think what they are thinking? Wow, these guys is not a tough place, you know? But here, if you ask me an advice, because always when I had a chance to talk with smart people like these guys, I'm always asking, guys, if you can give me one advice that you took from your life, what could you share with me that can help me? And that's why today I took so many learnings from them. And I have mine to share with you. I hope so that you can take it for you as well. So, 2 words, solution and problem, depending how you look at. So, my message to you is like, after 27 years experience, maybe you always should choose to be in the solution side. It doesn't matter if you are at home or if you are in your company. Just choose always to be on the solution side, not in the problem side. Let me give you an example. Your wife is really pissed with the dishes. You say, I will wash them. And then you are part of the solution. If you say, the dishes are dirty, you are part of the problem. Do you understand the difference?